Hey everybody in quarantine, just gonna teach y'all a little bit about the 120-degree haircut. So as you can see, I've already sectioned my mannequin off. I did give her a mohawk section, but we're actually going to leave that out for now. So disregard that. And then I gave her a little mohawk section back here. Everything before the occipital bone is what we're gonna cut, between the apex and the occipital. Most of the reach. Okay, so we're gonna start out by getting our guide. I wanna take a little bit off the apex. We're gonna use our hair that's on the apex in the crown area, and I'm gonna cut about an inch off of that. So what we're gonna do is we're going to bring our hair straight up off the head, as you can see. And then we're going to bring our fingers back. Therefore, we are creating a 120-degree haircut. So this is a 180, which we've already gone over. That's straight off the head. And we're gonna go 180 with a little bit back. So now that we know where our guide is gonna start, we're going to begin cutting. I wanna take about a ½ an inch off. Make sure you're combing every piece of hair very smooth, and you make sure to get it up. So we're gonna bring it here and straight back. Can everybody see? We're gonna take about a ½ an inch off. Remember, do not cut past your knuckles. And then we're gonna take another ½ inch section from our mohawk, and we're going to drop some of our previous guide forward. That way we still have some guide, but we also still have enough hair to maintain a guideline. So here's our guideline, and here's the hair we're gonna cut. Again, we're going to make sure that our hands are straight across, our elbows are up, our shoulders are back, and our feet are straight on the ground. And we're going to cut straight back. Take a little bit away from the guide, add a ½ an inch more from the mohawk section. Make sure to comb on both sides evenly, nicely. Make sure every hair is in there. And again, we're gonna bring it straight up and then just diagonal back, go back just a little bit so that our hands are parallel to the floor, our elbows are parallel to the floor, and we're gonna cut that last little bit off. Remember, do not go past your second knuckle. Okay, now we're to our last little part of our mohawk section. We're gonna bring that up again, straight up off the head. And then, as I said previously, bring it back a little bit more. So you see the angle of my comb? That's the angle we want our hair to be. And we're going to cut. All right, so what we're doing is creating concave layers. We want for our hair to go out and up this way. All right, so now I know that this section here is probably not gonna meet, but let's just be sure. So we're gonna take this section here and section it off. Clean sections, making sure the hair is very well saturated. Okay, and I'm just going to get that out of the way so that we can see what we're doing, and then go to this side as well, comb that out of the way. And here's what we have left. We have our last little bit of the mohawk. So what I'm gonna do is bring that up and make sure there's nothing to cut. So we're gonna go straight off the head again, making sure that every piece of hair is combed nice and straight and even into the section. Bring that up. And like I said, there's nothing really to cut. It's all dropping out, all right? So as you can see, anything from the occipital bone down may not have to be cut, and that's okay. So you need to check that before you move on. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the back right quadrant. And as you can see here too, there's not a lot of hair to cut because of our previous sectioning and cutting. So we're going to split our mohawk section down the middle, section it off. We're gonna make sure to put all this out of the way. That way we're not getting lost in our haircut or anything like that, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and cut this section. So what I'm gonna do is take small subsections so that my hands can handle it and I don't get lost. All right, so we have some of the previous guideline in there. We're gonna go ahead, section all of this up. Now she has fine hair, therefore if you can handle all of that hair, that's fine. If you cannot, then make sure to get some tiny subsections. And we can see our guideline. Our guideline is right here, but we need to cut. So make sure to go back. Arms are straight out. Parallel with the floor, as well as your hands are parallel with the floor. And we're going to take off that little 1/2 inch that we have, okay? So now we're going to section this again. Half of the previous guide, and we're gonna bring it all back. Now this is not a traveling guide. This is a stationary guide. We're bringing everything up, wrapped around it up to this part. So I'm gonna take the next section. We're gonna wrap the hair, bring it directly up into a 180. Remember, push it back. Find our guide. So our guide is here, and we're gonna cut to our guide. Let's comb it on both sides, make sure we've got all the hair. Okay, there we go. All right, and we've got everything on that side, but we wanna check just to be sure, combing it up nice and neat. Straight up off the head and diagonal back. Again, elbows parallel with the floor, hands are parallel with the floor. And we don't have anything to cut. Now, you do have to cross-check. So with this haircut, the way that you cross-check is you find your guide, and you're gonna make small subsections going opposite of the way that you cut the hair. So we went vertical, now we're going to go horizontal to check it. And you're gonna see what's called concave. So what does concave mean? It's like a little dip. So once we do that, we're going to section this hair off. We're gonna bring it straight up. And as you can see, our outer edge is a little longer than our front. So here's how it's going. Same way, we hold it the same way. We're gonna bring it 120 degrees off the hair. All right? So this outer side is gonna be longer. Let's check the next section. Your interior layers, inside layers, are going to be shorter, and your outer layers are going to be a little bit longer. So here is our haircut, how it's going. That's okay, do not cut your edges. It's not going to be even because we're doing shorter layers in the crown area and longer layers. This creates volume. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my other side the same way I did this one, making sure that I check all my subsections and cross-check. So down the middle, we're gonna separate all this extra hair out because we've already cut this. We'll pin it back. Okay, here we go. Remember that we cut the guideline in half and brought it to the left side. Again, don't forget that you may not go past the occipital bone. It doesn't mean that you won't have to, but today we do not have to. You do need to check it just to be sure that it doesn't meet. So we're gonna take a vertical subsection, again, with this hair, get the rest of it back, out of the way, and pull all this hair to that middle guideline. We're going straight up, straight back. Remember to go up and straight back and cut to our guideline. So there's not much that needed to be taken off due to the previous haircut. Now we're gonna split the previous guide in half, out of the way, and go along back to them, bring everything to the middle. Bring the hair straight up. To our guide. Okay, and you can see our guide here and that our back pieces are not meeting. We're gonna cut off everything in between to connect them, okay? And that is how we do a 120. Okay, so the front is gonna be a little bit different. Let's actually show you the back first and all the layers. You can see the wave that it gives, and you can see the longer here and the shorter interior layers. Okay, now we're going to keep this area as our guide right here, okay? But we only need about a square inch of that guide. So I'm going to measure that off, add that to the front mohawk, and I'm going to clip all of this out of the way because we don't want to be confused by it, okay? So we have our previous guide, and it's going to be the same thing. Now, we still want to have our guide here. We're going to take subsections, small subsections, about 1/2 inch. We're going to hold this straight up and go back. And as you can see, here's my guide and here's what we need to cut all the way up to here. Okay, now we're gonna drop about 1/2 inch back here, grab 1/2 inch to the front, comb it straight up, make sure that both sides are even, nice and clean, and come to the back. Now, again, we're not going straight up, we've got a lean. We've got a 120-degree lean going on. Now, you can see all this hair has to be cut, so we're going to cut that. Making sure, again, that our elbows are up, our fingers are parallel with the floor, and we're going to take part of that and add in the back over here. Making sure we have clean sections, subsections that we can handle in our hands and we feel comfortable with. Go ahead and make sure to comb both sides and get it straight. We're gonna go up and back, make that a 120-degree angle, and cut that off. Now we're up to this front section. We're going to take a little bit of our back guide. Again, straight up, back, hands parallel, and you can see what needs to be cut. Now, the front, again, is not gonna meet because we did a previous haircut with face framing layers, and therefore this is not going to meet. That's okay, we'll drop it out. It doesn't have to meet. So now we're gonna take, like we did in the back, this front mohawk section, and we're going to split it down the middle, and we're gonna use it as the guide for the sides. Okay. Okay, so same over here. I'm gonna do this. Normally you'd be standing on the side that you're cutting, but today for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to be doing that. So normally my back would be to you, and that's why we couldn't do that. All right, so we're gonna take this down. We're gonna comb it. We have our guide right here. I just wanna put that to the back just a little so I can show you what I'm doing. I'm gonna comb it down, and we're gonna take horizontal subsections on this side. So, again, we have that back hair out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of what we're doing. We take the hair that we can handle in our hands comfortably. In this case, I'm gonna take a little bit off we're gonna grab our guideline. We go straight up off the head and pull it back to a 120. Shoulders, hands parallel with the floor. Now we gotta take a little bit out, and we'll use this front piece here. Straight up, straight a little bit back. Make sure you comb both sides so that all the pieces are in there. And here's our guide right here, but we're going to take off the extra pieces. Okay, make sure your partings are clean. Make sure your hair is well saturated. And we're gonna take another subsection. Okay, straight up. Wow, I almost tripped, but straight up. As much hair as you can handle in your hand. Again, straight up. And then we're going to lean it back at a 120-degree angle. There's not a lot that needs to be cut. We're getting to the point to where she's a little thin on the ends and doesn't need to be cut. Now we have this last section. We're gonna take all of that straight up off the hair as well. Straight up off the head. As said before, okay, this is not needed. It's not going to meet. We've already cut everything we could there. All right, so we're gonna lean it back, hands up, and cut. Now, this side's done, and I'm gonna continue on to the other side, and then we'll blow it dry and show you how everything looks when it's finished. Cross-check your front sections. So here's how we cross-check the front, okay? Now, we want the same concave effect. So we want the outer to be longer than the inner part of where you've cut. So obviously, this is your guide. This is gonna be the shortest piece. So we're going to cut it, we're going to cross-check it vertically because we cut it horizontally. So we're going to take vertical sections, bring this up, and as you can see, it is at an angle. Therefore, my outer section is definitely shorter or longer than my interior section. So let's check this other side and make sure we have the same thing going on. And we do, okay? So here is my shorter piece and here's my longer piece, and you can see they don't match and they're not supposed to. And that's how we do a 120.